Great to have your company on Rugby Heaven on your home of rugby stand sport. I'm Michael Atkinson, Justin Harrison alongside me. And a warm welcome our special guest this week, Wallabies Coach Joe Schmidt. Now, we love a theme here on Rugby Heaven, and this week it's all about James Slipper. So we have got our slippers for Slipper. And Joe's been kind enough to bring in his own grandpa slippers there, Joe.
Yeah.
What about yours,
Goog? You were going to set me up.
They're upmarket, those ones.
Well, they're so big you could die for abalone in these things. I want to know about your grip rating. How are they coming up and down chimneys at Christmas time?
Do not worry about mine, okay? They got a little tartan on the inside as well, but it is a huge occasion for the one and only James Slipper, set to become the most capped player in Super Rugby history. We will, Joe, dive into it at more depth later on, but just a quick word. Great man, Slips.
Yeah, not just a great player, but he is a genuine top man. Great to have in the environment. He's a bit of glue, and he gels other people alongside him, just because he's a good bloke.
Yeah. We're going to celebrate James Slipper right throughout this show. Of course, we're going to ask Joe Schmidt about who's impressed him from a Wallabies point of view, and we're going to talk about that man, Les Kiss, who, of course, will succeed Joe as the next Wallabies coach, but it's about the great man, James Slipper. And as he prepares to play his 203rd match of Super Rugby, he's taken a little trip down memory lane. Well, James, as we get ready to celebrate you becoming the most capped Super Rugby player of all time, let's take a little trip down memory lane, shall we?
Who we got?
It's a surprise.
Hey, how are you, mate?
Good, congratulations.
Well? Oh, mate. Hey, mate.
Hey, mate. How are you? Good, mate. Good, how are you?
Here they are.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate.
Thanks, mate.
He was always a talented kid. I was always older but small and always tried to keep up to him, to tell you the truth.
What did you see in him?
He had aspirations of being the best he could be, and there was just no nonsense about him. He just got on with the job. He knew he was going to do the job that he needed, and I think that's why teammates just love playing with him.
Like, I'm extremely proud of what I've done. To play 100 games for the Reds and close to 100 games for the Brumbies, I'm extremely proud. I'm extremely humbled to be in this position.
A little bit of a This Is Your Life for James Slipper there, and there's a full version of that you can catch on Stan Sport. The road to 203, the James Slipper story. I'm very privileged, Joe and Justin, that I got to play a small role in that and just walk him through some key moments through his Super Rugby career. But for a bloke who plays in a very difficult position, Justin, to reach 203 appearances, it's a heck of an achievement.
Yeah, James Slipper seems to have his hands around two very rare commodities, time and legacy. One you seemingly can't control and the other you want to create. He's managing to do both at the same time. The longevity that he's showing us, and certainly in the position that he is playing, it's astounding. You think about the 203 games, sure. The amount of pre-seasons and fitness sessions and training sessions, and then 150 test matches on top of that. You know, it's an amazing display of resilience, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I think obviously loosehead prop is one of the best places to be. Wyatt Crockett, another loosehead prop that he's getting up over the top of. Yeah, he swung a bit, but I think with Slips, that durability, and he is, I think, a stubborn man when it comes to trying to move him or try to move him on, and because people love him in their environment, they're keen to keep him there. And I know, talking to Steve Larkham, he's delighted to have him there, and as are the Brumbies players. Yeah,
and there's plenty of wonderful things happening in Canberra in particular, celebrating James's incredible milestone. As we mentioned, Slippers for Slipper. It's been the catch cry all week. We've seen big heads getting around, James Slipper big heads getting around the Capitol as well. And the Brumbies have produced a special shirt to commemorate the occasion and celebrate the man as well. You mentioned loosehead prop. He's played a lot of his career at tight head too, and even late in his career still had the ability to swap when needed, when you've called on him to do so as well. It's wonderful versatility, endurance and all of those things.
Well, it again comes back to his durability, because he wouldn't really want to be on tight head. He is a loose head prop, but he'll do anything for the team. And if you ask him to shift across, he will say, if that's the best thing for the team, then that's what I'm prepared to do.
Well, I've been up close to front rowers, and I tell you, playing that position, it shortens your life, or it's supposed to. James Slipper seems to be swimming against the curve. He's got some sort of cocoon lagoon out the back happening, where he's going and just he's Benjamin Button in reverse of the front rowers. frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, his road to 203, let's get it out. I'm 203 centimetres tall. His road to 203 capes is much more painful than my road to 203 centimetres in height. I'm feeling it and looking at it. This man, he's not just showing up at scrum time.
No.
His time on ground is meaningful. He's breaking tackles. He's scoring tries.
Yep.
He's contributing to a fast, active game. And he is a modern-day prop in an old man's skin.
Yeah, and he's got his kicking game going now,
Yeah.
obviously, in the lead up to Declan Meredith scoring earlier in the year.
Which slips practice,
Is
for
that
sure.
do you get, because when you reach 200 plus games, do you get a bit of a leave pass from the Wallaby coach to do that? Because back in my day, you're gone.
Yeah, he's used his licence.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And that was it. But he used it well.
Well,
and you know, the other thing that he's still doing well are the core roles. He's still scrummaging well. And you mentioned earlier on about pre-seasons. Well, he didn't go on the spring tour, so this time he did have a spring. He did have a full pre-season because he didn't go on tour, and I think he's come back in really good shape.
I've got to ask about the moment tomorrow night. There will no doubt be a little ceremony to celebrate and probably award or present James with something to commemorate the occasion. When Wyatt Crockett broke the record playing for the Crusaders, he was presented, as you can see there, with, I think layman would call that a sword. Playing for the Crusaders, it kind of makes sense. Playing for the Brumbies, what do you expect James Slipper, or what would you like to see James Slipper presented with? Maybe a golden slipper or a saddle because he plays for the Brumbies? Or would it be a little bit more vanilla than that?
No, I think I've got two things in mind that are quite contemporary.
Yeah, okay.
I think that he should never have to pay for petrol of any kind for the rest of his life.
Wow.
He should get a free diesel.
That's expensive these days.
Diesels go forever. They never stop. James Slipper gets free diesel wherever he goes.
Yep.
And then it drinks golden ticket to any pub in Australia. He walks in, the bar's got to shout him.
Well, he's a teetotaler, so that's probably not going to be useful for him. No, that's not true.
I was going to say,
It'd be very expensive. It'd be very expensive, I think, actually, if that was the case.
For beers and petrol.
Yeah, well, even a litre of petrol is,
expensive now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The golden slipper might not be a bad shout, you reckon?
Yes.
Yeah, well, especially...
It's not a very sexy statue, though, at the front of Canberra Stadium.
No, I guess golden slipper at Rose Hill tomorrow.
Now you're talking. How about a cup? How about the slipper cup?
I think
races.
between the three of us,
about gambling.
Between the three of us, we can come up with something. I'm sure. You mentioned statue.
What about another couple of tests?
Oh,
hang on a minute.
Yeah. I don't think you'd ever say never, but yeah.
Well, Goog has done a Tim Horan and he's taken over the show and he's led us to a topic we're going to get to a little bit later.
That's all right. I was joking.
Seeing as we've taken him there,
into that.
you know, we've spoken about the form that he is still currently in at 36 going on 37. He himself says he feels like he's in better shape than he's ever been. And we know he's retired from Test footy, Joe, but he's still playing well enough. Is there any world you can see where, you know, he comes back into a gold jersey?
Well, I mean, once a decision's made, like Nick White, once a decision's made,
You can unmake it twice.
It's made for that, at least that week. I'm not saying...
One week at a time.
Yeah, I'm not saying never, but, you know, I know that Slips, the first thing he'd acknowledge is there's a few good loose heads knocking around at the moment. You know, I think there's been some really good performances across the full four teams in Super Rugby so far. And even in behind him, with the Brums, Blake Shop and Lincoln Lely, you know, there's good stock coming through. That stock could still be aided by a bit of glue that the senior man's got. So he is retired currently.
There's also a human up north, Northern Ireland, busy avoiding trench foot for Ulster.
Angus Bell, yes.
Yeah,
he's doing quite well, isn't he?
Wow, he scored a pretty impressive try a few weeks ago. But
and he's scrummaging well.
Yeah.
In a Northern Hemisphere environment, pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good challenge for him.
Yeah.
He himself has taken a little pic of himself wearing slippers and thrown it up on social media as well. Belly just celebrating his great mentor in James Slipper. Now, James would admit that there's plenty of other stock around and he wouldn't want to stand in anyone's way. He would also, I think, be the first person to acknowledge that tomorrow night there's a game of rugby to play, and he would be more interested in winning that game for the Brumbies against the Chiefs in Canberra than focusing on his own milestone, but we will do that for him. Let's talk a little bit about that game. Significant changes, Goog, for Stephen Larkham for the Brumbies this week. 7, in fact, to the side that lost to the Drua in Fiji last week. It almost feels like, and I don't say this with any disrespect to the players who played last week, a back to full strength for tomorrow night against the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's probably a circle the wagons time for Bernie, for Stevie Larkham down in Canberra. They started well. They've hit the speed wobbles the last 2 games, haven't been able to close them out. Got blown off the park against Fiji. So they're going to want to get past that as quickly as possible. The week can't go quick enough for them. You know, Corey Toole, you know, that sort of try-scoring power from seemingly anywhere on the field. You can create something from nothing with people like that on the field. You know, James Slipper's kick, for instance, no way that probably should have worked, but you've got pace and people who can back up on the field. Corey Toole's one of them, Joe. And the Chiefs, I tell you what, the Chiefs, they score over half their tries from line-outs, and people think, well, that's a line-out you've got to shut down. It's actually their first phase attack. They're the best attacking off first phase in the competition, the Chiefs. So they are looking to score and penetrate from first phase. So many other teams are playing setups. That's what the Brumbies have got to unlock.
Yeah, and they've got to be really connected to do it, because there are so many threats in the Chiefs lineup. Nana Saturo, he can enter in wherever he likes. Emoni Naura.
Yeah.
You got on the other side Leroy Carter, so you've got a real threat in their back three, and then through the middle, you know, you've got guys who are outstanding. Yeah,
absolutely. You mentioned Nana Saturo. He's returning, real danger man for them. So a couple of other big inclusions, Joe. Captain Luke Jacobson in the back row, and Daniel Rona starting at 13. So there's some experience coming back in. There's strike weapons across the park. This is going to be a tough challenge for the Brumbies, isn't it?
Yeah. Luke Jacobson didn't get the nickname Concrete Shoulders for nothing. You know, he'll definitely add value and add confidence.
Sofa. Yeah, he's big.
Yeah,
he looks like an entire IKEA display.
Yeah. No, he's he's big-hearted as well. You know, like the engine's big and the shoulders go along with it. So he'll be working really hard. But at the same time, there are some guys coming up against them that have been going super as well. Yeah. You know, I think that's going to be part of the matchup. You know, the back three of the scrum have been outstanding for the Brums so far.
Absolutely. We're going to dive into a couple of those names a little bit later, so don't do it, Justin, to me and get too far ahead here. But we do like to put you under pressure and get a tip for each game, Joe. So I'm going to start with Justin. You can hear what he says, who he's tipping tomorrow night. Good?
Brumbies.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm Brumbies as well.
There you go.
Good man. Yeah. And he's already quicker than Tim Horan. He's already better at understanding that this is a time-critical game. It'll be a huge match tomorrow night on Stan Sport. Make sure you sign up via the QR code there and see every game of SwiftX Super Rugby Pacific live and exclusive on your home of rugby. Coming up, we're going to preview the Waratahs, who are back in action at home against the Blues. After a strong start to the season, it's been a little bit of a rocky road.
Such a great opportunity for this New South Wales Waratahs team. It's a team that's settled with experience and that hint of new blood with the debutants.
Super Rugby Pacific 2026. It is the Waratahs up against the Reds. Jorgensen burns them! Fingertip control. Pops in field! Jorgensen has two! In for the Tars. New South Wales beat Queensland at Allianz Stadium, and we are off to a flyer. Charlie Gamble for the Tars. Jorgensen takes a long floating ball and gets to the outside. Moananu. Blood reaches out and gets there. Moananu's in for his second. Jorgensen flying down the left. It is the Waratahs, 2 from 2.
This was one of the lowest games of the season.
Hamua far too easily.
It was a tough watch.
The Hurricanes dominant.
We expected so much from them, they sort of fell off the cliff.
The Hurricanes smashed the Waratahs in Sydney.
Are they serious contenders or pretenders?
What have we just witnessed?
They've got to get it right.
Oh, wow.
They're in the house of doubt.
It's the Queensland Reds who get their revenge on the Waratahs.
They are definitely looking at the man in the mirror thinking, how am I going to climb out of quicksand?
They're a top 4 side. Whether they can deliver that, time will tell.
I'm not convinced yet. I want to be convinced.
Jorgensen creates for Potter. Listen to the crowd! They fight for the line and they get it for the Tars.
We're going to find out whether the Waratahs are a bit more of the real deal this week.
Certainly has been some struggles for the Waratahs in their last couple of games, but the beauty of rugby union is every week you get a chance for redemption. And Saturday night at Allianz Stadium, it'll be up against the Blues for Dan McKellar's men. Justin, Joe, 2 changes to the starting 15 by Dan McKellar. Miles Emeticero comes back in to start at lock. And Harry Potter, who came off the bench last week, will start on the wing. Like I mentioned, a chance for redemption because, you know, they were shown up by the Hurricanes a couple of weeks ago and they just fell short against the Reds in Brisbane last week.
Well, I'm always excited when I see changes to forward packs because it's going to provoke reaction to a unit of men and a quotient of work and dominance that the Waratahs need. The first couple of rounds, they had the best, most effective type forward pack in the competition in work rate, time on ground, carries, clean outs, efficiency, speed of ruck. That's dropped right away. So, sure, outside backs are interesting. They're like the pine nut of the salad next to a big steak. They're right on the edge of the plate. I'm talking about Emeticero. I loved his work rate in the first 2 games. He was aggressive. He was efficient. And the thing about big, strong, tall men is they need to be powerful between hips and ground. And he had unlocked that for a period in those first couple of rounds. I want to see all of the forwards, Matt Phillip and he, come back to that.
Joe, let's talk about the pine nuts then, as Justin referred to
they're
them.
nice, but, you know.
I'm not sure I've had too many steaks with pine nuts on the side, but interesting analogy as always,
on
Justin.
The side, way on the side.
Well, one of the pine nuts, Harry Potter, is back in the starting side. He was off the bench last week. We know he missed the Hurricanes game, Joe. He's switched from the Force to the Tars in the off-season. What have you made of his first few games in Sky Blue in Sydney?
Yeah, finding his way a little bit. He's had a little bit of a foot injury, so I don't think he's been 100%. And so when you're just short of 100%, the margins are that small that you probably don't put your best foot forward, for want of a better phrase. So I'm looking forward to Harry really starting to get a bit of an upswing from here on in, and I'd love to see that. I think he was really good on the spring tour. I think his work rate away from the ball gives you the security that the grass is covered in behind. He's brave and he's strong when he's going up in the competitive high ball situations. So I know he'll be working hard on Saturday night.
Yeah, and back 3 of himself, Max Jorgensen, and the young guy in Sid Harvey as well. It'll be interesting to see. I think Sid Harvey will need
we like Sid.
All experience from Harry Potter and voice as well. We do like Sid Harvey. The Blues, on the other hand, Zane Sullivan returns at fullback. And Carlos Spencer's son, Peyton, is in line to make his debut, named in jersey number 23, which is a wonderful story. We know Carlos Spencer, a Blues legend. And the Blues flying at the moment, currently second on the ladder, 3 wins, 2 losses. All right, starting with you this time, Joe. Tip to win, Blues, Tars.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Tars get their nose in front. I think it is going to be tight, though.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm going to upset Blues. Okay, Blues.
All right, we're split. House divided here. That's all right. We don't always have to agree on everything, but Joe's certainly winning over favour with the fans because he's going with Aussie sides for now. The other Aussie team in action this week is the Reds on the road taking on the Drua in Fiji. We know that the Drua have already beaten the Brumbies and the Hurricanes over there at home, and the Reds, Les Kiss has made 5 changes to his starting 15. It feels like, Joe, there's a little bit of player management. Carter Gordon not playing, Fraser McWright not playing, Zane Nongor not playing. That must be a tricky balance. Like, this is a crucial game for the Reds, but you do also want to preserve some players for back end of the season?
Yeah, I think Carter's had that run of injuries. So he's put a few games together, had those training weeks, which are pretty tough as well. So for him not to have to travel and then play on top of it, I think it makes sense. Zane Nongor's been well used, and for him to get a bit of a breather is probably a good thing. And it's probably not a breather. I think Zane will be working pretty hard and making sure that he's primed for what's coming up beyond the Fijian challenge. And the Drua are tough there. But what Moana Pasifika did demonstrate is that if you can get in their face and muscle up against them, you can get that positive outcome. But, gee, they've beaten some big teams there, the likes of the Hurricanes and Brumbies. Like, that's two big hitters.
Yeah, it was a massive win for Moana back in round one. They did maybe show a little bit of a blueprint there at the very beginning of the season. A big return for the Reds in the midfield, Justin, Hunter Paisami, who gives Les Kiss so many things, more than just the punch, which is probably what he gets recognised for the most.
He's added a lot of things to his game. Hunter Paisami for a long time was up and in and very tunnel vision, wanted a big hit, wanted a big carry, and then probably 2 or 3 back-to-back phases was a bit of a passenger. Now he's linking and he's providing opportunity for players around him, and that's the skill of very good players. When you see the difference between a player who performs his role and a player who performs his role in a team, that's what you're seeing, the progression of Hunter Paisami. He's added all sorts of skill quotient. Last year, I remember he played a game and he tried too hard, rode the line when he first came back, remember? Offloading all over the shop and really trying to create. He was very keen. He clearly has that front of mind, and you're seeing it now executed at a different level, sure, but he is absolutely going to be able to take that back line forward, which is what they're going to need. He's the experience they need with changes like that. And the Reds have got a bit of a swagger back now. It's the Reds swagger. They've got a bit of mojo. They've got Wilson and McRide on fire. Les Kiss has got his hands on some selections. He's picking the right time to drop people. Carter Gordon, that wasn't an uncomfortable conversation. That's the perfect type of rhythm that you want to take into a game.
Joe, can I just ask you quickly, because in referencing Hunter Paisami, you can't not talk about Isaac Henry, who will shift from 12 to 13 this week to accommodate Paisami. Now, Isaac has played, he started in 12 last week. He's had a horror run of injuries over the last few years, but in his 2 games back, what have you made of him? I know he hasn't been in Wallabies calculations before, but there's been quite a positive response to his first 2 games back in Super Rugby.
Yeah. Atko, you say he hasn't been in conversations. He's certainly been in conversations, and I've had conversations with him over the last couple of years at different times. Had a good catch-up with him in Brisbane last week. I think he's got a lot of the sort of footwork and skill work. A good example is when he scored in the weekend. If you see where that try comes from, he gives a reverse play ball to Filippo Dongunu, who goes through the middle. Yeah. He is a long way behind play, but his acceleration gets him back into the frame, and he finishes that try really well. So that's a work ethic off the ball. It's an awareness of where the space may be, and then it's a commitment to getting to the support line that finishes the try. So I think the other thing with Hunter and Isaac, Hunter's kicking game is massively underestimated. His ability, short kicking, attacking kicking game, and his long kicking game to take some pressure off 10, I think that's another aspect that's positive with Hunter coming back into the side.
All right, tip time. The Reds against the Drua in Fiji. Justin, who wins?
All in, Reds.
All in.
Yeah, Reds. So, yeah, I do think, again, it could be quite tough just because conditions get tough there and travel is complicated at times to get there.
Yeah, it's always an outstanding atmosphere. You can feel it through the TV, and if you sign up to Stan Sport and catch every moment of the Reds against the Drua in Fiji, you will feel that atmosphere. Stay with us, because coming up with the Wallabies coach here, we're going to speak about some of the best Aussie performers so far in SwiftX Super Rugby Pacific.
Jorgo as a player, he's electrifying.
No look pass and it's picked off.
He is a very naturally gifted footy player.
Max Jorgensen in and away. Great cover tackle, Jorgensen.
He's definitely what you'd consider a freak.
Jorgensen, now he clears it for Phillip.
He has a great field footy game.
His agility and movement and balance, I haven't seen too many move like that on a rugby field.
Jorgensen! Terrific finish.
He ends up in the right spot at the right time a lot.
Still alive, pops in field! Jorgensen lights up the SFS!
Playing someone like Jorgo, you know he can do something out of nothing.
When he does stuff, it always seems to work for him. Like it just bounces back into his hand or something like that. I don't know if that's a skill or if that's a luck.
Jorgensen puts it in behind Jorgensen, toes it ahead. Is that the try to break the drought against the Brumbies?
Against the run of play, intercept, little kicks in behind that he regathers and seems to find the try line a lot.
Jorgensen burns them! Listen to the crowd!
He's a very special player. He's only just getting started.
Jorgensen flying down the left. What can't this kid do?
He has been in outstanding try-scoring form in 2026 as Max Jorgensen. 6 tries so far in SwiftX Super Rugby Pacific, and he sits equal top with Ben Donaldson and Tamosi Tavatava-Nawai in the voting for the Super Rugby Player of the Year. You can't not look at some of those highlights and the fancy footwork. We've certainly enjoyed covering it on Stan Sport. We know he's a mainstay these days in the Wallabies, and he's certainly keeping himself in that calculation with his early season form. But, Joe, we want to talk about a few of the players who've lit up the early part of SwiftX Super Rugby Pacific. Max Jorgensen certainly won with 6 tries. The man who sits atop the try-scoring tally is not an outside back, not a pine nut, as Justin referred to them. It's actually Charlie Cale, the Brumbies number 8, who has 7 tries already this year. Difficult year in 2025, hits the ground running in 26.
Yeah, massively. And you don't have to go back too far. Top try scorer last year, Carlo Tazzano. So you've got to be an Aussie back rower if you want to be the top try scorer. So, Charlie started incredibly well. And it's not just on that attacking side of the ball. His line-out work has been very, very good. Defensively, his ability to cover the ground and close people down is exceptional. So, and alongside him, there's some other loose forwards who are going really well as well. Pete Samu, that we'll see on Saturday night. Again, front of the line-out for the Waratahs has been very good. And his speed and explosiveness. Charlie's been outstanding. Pete Samu, Joe Bryle has been really workmanlike, and that's what we were looking for from Joe, not necessarily the starry stuff. And again, he's been good in the line-out because it just gives us a little bit more versatility around how we can set our line-out up and where we can throw it. Will Harris is a very good line-out player in the force as well. So across those number 8s, it's great to see some of those guys performing well, and that's promising in terms of competition, but great to see Charlie back after a tough 2 years, really, where he made his test debut against Wales and hasn't had the opportunity since then, just through a number of injuries.
Yeah, I'm just thinking then, you don't want to go through it, but long injury layoffs when you have not a macro structural issue that needs a lot of hard labour surgery. You've got he had a back issue, right? So which means that his whole, from chest, ribs down, hips to knees, all of his power frame and his framework and his ability to maintain leg drive through contact and power out of that and stay powerful in uncomfortable positions. You can see all of that coming through now. Young body comes into the frame, very athletic and able to do it, but just the wear and tear of professional impact. And then having that sit-down period, as frustrating as it was, he's clearly worked on his S&C program very well on his core strength. And his core strength is what you look at all those clips, the way that he's changing direction without losing pace and pushing through contact and maintaining next power step down. All that stuff means that you end up being able to score tries, not just set them up or be part of a movement.
I love listening to you talk about biomechanics. It's incredible.
I Googled it 3 minutes before. AI, mate. It is AI. Welcome to AI.
You've just chat GPT'd that, haven't you? And look, there's another Brumbie I think probably worthwhile talking about. You mentioned his name before, Joe, Declan Meredith. I think you referenced him in relation to James Slipper and the kick try assist a few weeks ago. But a 10 is always such a focal point for any Super Rugby team and for the national team, for the Wallabies. It feels like it's always up for grabs, or it has for the better part of a decade. What have you made of Declan's early season form, steering the Brumbies around?
Yeah, Declan is a mature player. He's 26. He's played fullback and wing, so he's got enough high speed. I don't know if you saw early in the season, he went through a loose forward and a hooker to score a try under the bin in their first game of the season. So he's not afraid of the contact area. He's brave defensively. And he's pretty competent going up for the ball in a contest. Having watched him at Brumbies training, he also is quite commanding in the way that he runs the team. And that's another really important part of a 10, in that others are looking for the direction. If you've got your 10 decisive, can see the space, understands the game, and I think Declan's done a a longer apprenticeship than most coming into Super Rugby. Some of the other guys, they come in very young, and it's hard to see the wood for the trees sometimes at 10 with that step up and pressure. And when you get to test level, that wood's a lot thicker. And you know, having had those experiences and built on them, I think it just allows him to see more and stay calmer and be more decisive.
What about Carter Gordon, also in that 10 conversation, who came back to rugby last year, went on the end-of-season tour with you, played against Italy, and then missed a couple of test matches. He missed the beginning of this season, but the Reds' reversal in form or turnaround in form has coincided with him coming back into the Queensland jumper.
Yeah, and he individually has been pivotal in a couple of those wins I've had. He got the try against the Brumbies that tipped the balance. He scored the try against the Waratahs that got them the buffer of 8 points so that they were clear toward the end, and he did it. He did both with good footwork and acceleration. He's hitting some good speeds. I think one of the frustrations around the spring tour, he was injured. He couldn't kick at goal. He couldn't kick for the line when we did play him against Italy. And even in the French test, he was all set to be named in the last kick of that last training. You know, he pulled up sore again. So now that he's got through that, I'm excited to see where he can get to. Tom Liner is back there though, and he's almost back to full training. So there'll be good competition there. And Ben Donaldson's been going well for the Force as well. So that's what we want. And I think Tane will push up under Declan a bit as well once he gets the rhythm of the way the Brumbies play. Declan's been there for quite some time, so it's natural to him.
Can't not ask you about Zach Lomax, who's coming to rugby. He's joined the Western Force. He's with them now. A league convert who's come across to the 15-a-side game. What do you see in terms of what he can bring to rugby and maybe what he can add to a Wallaby setup if he succeeds at the Western Force level? Yeah,
and again, the good thing with Zach is he's not getting ahead of himself. I've had a conversation with Zach and so has Les Kiss. Simon Cron is working with him at the moment. He'll be delighted. Working hard in 36 degrees today in Perth. He'll be gasping a little bit and maybe second guessing his decision, but I doubt whether he'll do that. He impressed me as being very driven, and he's driven to try to help the Force first and foremost. And I like that about a player who is not thinking about where they can go, they're thinking about how they can help. And I think, you know, if we go back to where we started, that slips. You know, it's never been about where he can go and milestones he can get. It's what he can add to the team that he plays for. And Zach has very much been like that thus far.
And we look forward to seeing him take the field for the Force whenever that does happen to be.
Position? We're going to hit him up for a position.
For the Force, I think Dylan Peach is currently injured, so it could be on the wing. Yeah. They have a couple of injuries and a couple of guys who aren't there now in the midfield, so it could be there. But I think wing is probably the most likely, but that is definitely up to Simon Cron, and they'll make that decision. I'll be interested to see how he goes.
Do you see wing as a starting point with the view to transition to another position, or do you think wing is probably likely his long-term spot?
Well, I just think wing, with the aerial game and the way that's developed, he's not super tall, but he's quite a tall guy with a big, broad set of shoulders and good spring. He's very good in the air. Just having that on the edge is beneficial for starters. He's got good top-end speed, so he ticks a few boxes on the wing. It can be a bit lonely defending on the wing, and you know that whoever's playing fullback, if it is Mac Greeley, for example, if it's Mac or Max Bury, they're going to maybe have to help him just positionally originally, but you know, even talking to him, he's a bit of a student of the game. He knew who else was there, who else was in the Australian system, how they'd played in the spring tour. So, yeah, he's definitely already trying to work out how he best defends in different positions, but wing and fullback were two of the ones that we talked about briefly.
Yeah, it's impressive to hear that he's that invested and doing that much research as well. Very much looking forward to whenever he does take the field for the Western Force and possibly could find himself in a gold jersey later in the year. The first test, of course, for the Wallabies in 2026 is against Ireland in July here in Sydney at Allianz Stadium, part of 3 massive tests down here in Australia throughout the month of July. Stay with us. We're going to pull out the crystal ball. We're going to look ahead at a massive calendar ahead for the Wallabies.
Hazen loses it. Tom Wright down the edge. Tom Wright back infield. Oh my goodness. This is just too good. This is ecstasy for Wallabies fans.
They are incredibly proud of the gold jersey that they wear and the bond that they're forming between them.
It is one of the most incredible Wallabies test matches we have ever seen.
That was bloody awesome. That was bloody... That was special.
Probably the best win I've been part of. The best winners in the world.
What a memory, what a historic victory that was for the Wallabies. Over 60 years it had been since the last time Australia had tasted victory against South Africa at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. Very fond memories, I'm sure, for you, Joe. But let's look towards the future, because the first test we'll see the Wallabies back in action this year is against the nation you once coached for a long time in Ireland, here in Sydney. I think we're all really looking forward to, we're loving Super Rugby Pacific, but geez, we're looking forward to seeing the Wallabies back in action in Australia.
Yeah, I think even in a leadership meeting we had a couple of nights ago, I think the players are really keen for that as well, albeit they're short-term focused at the moment and looking to do the best for their super clubs. I'm massively looking forward to it. They finished the Six Nations on a real upswing. They had a third of the time in the 22 that Scotland had and beaten them by twice as many points. They are lethal attacking-wise, and they were belligerent defensively. And so we know the level that they can get to, and albeit that they started so poorly in the Six Nations, the way they came back through it. At the same time, I think we'll be fresher. We'll be ready to go by the time that test match occurs. And I'd love to get a similar sort of Allianz Stadium that we had last time we were here.
They were incredible scenes, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Wonderful atmosphere.
Yeah. And it was just bubbling. And we'd love that to happen again, full stadium. And it does lift the players, definitely.
Yeah.
It looked like the Six Nations this year dropped away a little in that aerial contest and kick attritional type of game and power-based game. The skill and speed and high-octane rugby, the amount of points scored as well. It seemed like the Six Nations teams have really ramped up their execution under pressure.
Yeah, I think that was part of it, definitely good. But I think the other part of it was on the back of those kick battles. It's who goes quick from those. And if you get something from a kick going forward, how quickly you can move that or punch through that. And you only have to look at that France-England game. A lot of those tries, both sides of the ball, were scored off kicks through rather than kicks over. And those kicks through, there are pretty exceptional guys collecting them like Biabari. Yeah. But they accounted for at least 4 or 5 of those tries in that game. So the kicking game is still really important, but I do think the execution, the number of phases in that Ireland-Scotland game were huge. Up to 17, 18, 19 phases at times. With that number of possessions, it's hard to defend for that long. So, some of it was attritional and some of it was artistic almost, particularly with some of those really good athletes finishing tries.
So the Wallabies' first 3 test matches this year against Ireland and Sydney on the 4th of July, France on the 11th of July in Brisbane, and then Italy on the 18th of July at HBF Park. They will also be your last 3 test matches in charge of the Wallabies. Can I ask you, with Les Kiss appointed to take over, how much involvement or input will he have or does he have for those 3 test matches that you are still in charge for?
I talked to Les Kiss last night. We exchanged messages this morning. There's a constant conversation happening between us, particularly around who's playing well, what we're looking for. But in the end, those 3 test matches, I will still have the lead in, and that will be Les's opportunity to see. Every team has their own lexicon. We have a language that we use. We have expectations that we set, and we have a game model that we play to. And so it will be Les's opportunity. He's already spent quite a bit of time in the Wallabies environment, both when we played at home last year and then on the spring tour. He was in during the England and the Ireland weeks. So Les is already well briefed on, I guess, how we structure our week and how we try to build toward the game. And then he'll bring his own ingredients into the Japanese tests that follow. And there's a couple of weeks hiatus there, so he'll have the opportunity just to take stock and then build his way into those 2 tests. And he's more likely to shift direction than change direction. It's not likely to be big shifts immediately. He'll work his way to any change in how the game's played.
There you go, Goog.
Yeah, just the rarefied air that you're in. Most coaches, probably Rob McQueen's the last time, most coaches up until you have been taken for the long walk.
Just a matter of time.
We're desperate to have you stay with us. What's that? Have you talked about how that's going to look? Are you comfortable with those conversations?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the conversations. I guess for me, I've got some other responsibilities and priorities, and how they may dovetail in the future. The one thing I do know is that the first time I retired was announced that retirement was in 2018, and I stayed in the seat for another year, and I just don't think I was as effective as I had been prior to that. I think I'm better to get right out of the way. Let Les really lead that window through to the end of the year, and if Les wants a hand on the back of that, we coached together, I don't know, over 10 years ago, and have been friends since. So it's not like I'd be a million miles away.
Well, that's good news. It's also good news for, I think, selfishly from our point of view, or I'll speak for myself, but I know there was a lot of rugby fans in Australia that were grateful you didn't take up the opportunity potentially to coach the All Blacks when Scott Robertson's time came to an end there. But we know a man who's very familiar to Australian rugby has taken that role in Dave Rennie. What do you expect from the All Blacks under the man who once coached the Wallabies, in the guy we're seeing on screen right now, Dave Rennie?
Yeah, look, what I do know about Ren's, he's still really well respected by the players, the Wallaby players, and he does a great job building a culture, building connection, and if you have that, you're already halfway there, because it means something. It means something to play for the jersey, but it also means a heck of a lot to play for the guy either side of you, and I think Ren's builds that really well. Look, I love my time with the All Blacks, and I've loved my time with the Wallabies, and feel a real sense of loyalty to the players who have tried really hard to try to build their way forward, because we weren't in a great space 2 years ago, and while we didn't have a great tour, I think there were glimpses of what people could see the team being capable of. And if we can keep building the base, we've got some of those guys, Goog, you mentioned earlier, Atko, you mentioned them, coming through. And then at the same time, we're getting a few guys back from injury, and that can hopefully be the springboard to be, I'm going to love my ticket in the stand here in a core stadium in the World Cup in 2027.
It's already campaign.
Yeah. Oh. Mate, that might be hard to come by. You might have to get yourself a tracksuit just to get a ticket, Joe.
I'm a little bit past the ball boy stage, but I'll try to find a way, and because I think that's going to be a heck of a game. Even, on the back of the two games from last year in Eden Park and in Perth, they were they were real test matches, and I think that's what people come to see. They come to see contests across the park, and that's what I think Dave Rennie will be expecting as well.
So the skill of a head coach, I'm in awe. I really am of the good ones, right? You're one of them, by the way. You can stay. And Dave Rennie, the ability, because it's traumatic. There's so much emotion and there's so much at risk when you're representing your country, and there's the uncertainty and there's questioning and there's all sorts of things happening around you. But ultimately, it's between you and the head coach who's not dictating to you, but he's able to reach into all of that turmoil and kaleidoscope of emotion and give you a simple, succinct, meaningful message that connects you directly to him when you are in trouble on the field. And that is your skill. That is absolutely Dave Rennie's skill, and that is rarefied air to be able to do that to a room full of men who are from all sorts of different walks of life, to be able to manipulate yourself to suit their arrangement to provoke the best performance that you can possibly get out of them. That is an amazing skill. If you can bottle that and leave that behind before you leave, thank you, I would really appreciate it.
I'd love to bottle some of the things you say. Violent
It's
disagreements is one of my all-time favourites.
It is a violent disagreement.
On my neck, stand up. It makes me want to run through a brick wall. It's going to be a big year, obviously, for Dave Rennie taking over the All Blacks role, but it's also a big year for all nations this year. We see the first instalment, the inaugural year of the Nations Championship, which is why we've got Ireland, France, Italy coming down south and playing Australia here in Australia, and then we will return the favour and go up north and play against England, Scotland, Wales, and it'll all culminate in a massive grand final weekend. We'll see the best 12 teams in the world from the north and the south. It's very, very exciting. And it's been wonderful to have you on the show this week, Joe, for all your insights, previewing Super Rugby Pacific and giving us a little look
Can
inside
I get one last question?
Wallabies things.
And all this catch-up with players, who pays for the coffee? The ones that get picked, clearly, have paid. Right? Is that how it works?
In my defence, I paid you. Yeah. I need them to buy in, and they own the team. The players own the team and own the way they play. So I buy the
And just so I know, what's the order for your coffee? What is it?
Just a flat white, thanks.
No,
Are you going to pay, Joe?
Mate, I'm going hard. Don't you worry.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, Joe Schmidt, Wallabies coach, along with us. Stay with us, though, on Rugby Heaven. We're going to take a look at some other rugby happening this weekend. We've got the Australian Club Championships, and we're going to preview the last couple of games of Super Rugby Pacific.
They're over and are they down? Warringah! The 2025 Charter Hall Shoot Shield Grand Final. Tavita Alatini puts Warringah in the box seat. Rapata gets it away. France! Has he got the pace? Clayton France will run away with the 2025 season, and Warringah are Shoot Shield champions.
Incredible scenes at Leichhardt Oval last year when Warringah claimed the Shoot Shield title and they almost tore the place apart. They get the chance maybe to be crowned the Australian Club champions. They'll take on Bond University, winners of the Hospital Cup up in Queensland last year. This weekend, Goog at Rat Park in Warringah. It's a triple header. There's the women's finalists as the Warringah Rats from women's side up against the Bond Uni women's side who won their respective competitions. And kicking it all off is actually an under-18 side between New South Wales and Queensland. That is a massive match. You'll be able to catch it all on Stan Sport. It is a smorgasbord. An absolute plethora of rugby. There's also a couple more Super Rugby Pacific games to quickly look at. Big New Zealand derby, the Highlanders hosting the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes absolutely flying. Rijan Pasatoa, who we know very well in Australia for his time at the Brumbies in the Force, is going to start for the Highlanders.
Highlanders will win that, just in case you're wondering.
OK, well, that's what I was getting to. Even with Ruben Love at fly half for the Hurricanes, Goog is going the Highlanders, and Moana Pacifica will host the Crusaders. Moana Pacifica welcoming back Julian Savia. Who wins that? Saders. Very quick from you. And you were outstanding today. How good was it to have the Wallabies coach?
It was amazing.
Yeah, wonderful to talk all things rugby.
There's a lot of fanboy in me there, just quietly.
I don't think you're alone.
Nothing wrong with
that. Absolutely not.
It's like standing next to the world's greatest Easter show bag. You just want to keep reaching into it.
Oh, I thought you were going to reach this way to me.
No.
There's another reason they call me Showbags. Full of...
You're correct.
Unlike this show, not full of it.
Tiny little key ring, Atko.
It's been wonderful to have your company. Don't forget, tomorrow night on Stan Sport, watch the Brumbies take on the Chiefs. Get your slippers on for Slipper as James Slipper becomes the most capped player. There they are. Look at them. Blue, beautiful in Super Rugby history. And on Monday, Shawnee and the boys will wrap up a massive weekend on Between Two Posts. Bye for now.